Money. It affects our everyday life. But how do we make more of it? Manage it. And make sure we make the most of our money. Welcome to Money Mindful, a podcast to teach and support you as you learn to manage your money.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of the Money Mindful podcast. I am your host, Megan Jean Smith, and I am so excited to be with you here today because I want to talk to you about something that has been blowing my mind lately, that I've been contemplating a lot and doing a lot of reflection on. And it's this idea that you can be right or you can have more money. I've got to explain this to you, and I really want to break it down because the more I coach women on their goals, their dreams, what they want, money is such a prevailing factor in like getting what they want, in terms of they see money as somehow an obstacle or a barrier or something they don't understand. And the more that I learn about money and the more that I change my beliefs around money and the more I'm open to thinking about money in a new way, the more I just see how much so many of us suffer, like really unnecessarily, because of what we think about money. And it's not just money, it's our thoughts about ourselves. That's why whenever I'm talking to you about what I do with my clients, like, yes, I'm a money mindset coach, but I'm a money mindset and life coach because money doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? It has influence over our whole life, and the way that we show up with money is also the way that we show up in other areas of our life. So before I get like too far out on a tangent, because I can feel myself like inside my belly when I'm talking to you about this, like I feel fire, guys. Like this is something that I just feel so passionate about, like you making more money, me making more money, just women making more money everywhere, because, you know, damn it, like women do good things with money. The world becomes a better place when we have money. And I'm just like, I'm over it. I'm over seeing myself play small. I'm over seeing other women play small. It's just like enough already, you know, like let's take inspiration from the Norwegian, volleyball team, who they were like, no, we're not going to wear bikinis at the Olympics. We're going to wear bike shorts, like what we want, like how we want to show up. And so today's topic for me is something that I want to share with you to help you create what you want in your life and to help you create the money that you want in your life. So I'm going to break it down for you. You can be right or you can have more money. And this is what I mean by this. Letting go of being right is seriously the ticket to creating what you want. And when I say letting go of being right, I don't mean that you are wrong, that there's anything wrong with you, or that you're wrong as a person, or that you have to let go of trusting yourself. But I'm going to give you like a whole heap of examples of how by me being willing to let go of being right, let go of my stories, these stories that I've just told myself over and over again, I've opened myself up to a completely new way of being. So I used to be a school teacher, okay? And when I had kids, I knew I had to do things a different way, okay? Because going to work as a teacher in teaching hours and having young children, I was just like, this isn't working for me. This is not how I want to live my life. And so, but I couldn't see another way, right? Like, it was just like I kept thinking, well, this is just how it is. Like, this is what people do. I mean, I have to put my kids in daycare. I've got to leave the house at 7:15 to get to work on time. I've got to leave my kids, and then by the time we've had meetings after work and I would get home at like 6. And I just thought that's how it is. And if I want to make more money, I have to go to work more. Like, I have to go back to work 5 days a week. I didn't want to do that because I had young kids, so I went back part-time, but I wasn't making the money that I wanted. But I felt like it's this or that. Like, I can have more money, but I don't get to see my kids. Or I can have less money, but I get to spend more time with my kids. And this was very real for me. I thought that this was the truth. Like, this is just how it is. And I saw my life through that filter, and that's how I lived my life, through that filter. And the way that things changed for me is that I started to be willing to look at the way that I think and look at the stories that I told myself and be willing to be wrong about them, right? Like, what if I was wrong about that? Like, that you either have to never see your kids and you can make more money, or you can see your kids but not make it as much money. Like, what if that whole idea, like, what if I was wrong about that? And I was wrong about that, right? Because now I work from home, and I work from home in school hours and then also in the evenings when my partner's home. I do some nights when I have clients in the evenings. And so I actually was totally wrong about that. I was totally wrong about having to work 5 days a week if I wanted to make more money, or that I could only work 2 days a week and not make as much money. Now, that's just one example. Like, I've got hundreds that I could give you, right? Like, I used to really be resistant to the word manifesting. Like, stuff like The Secret, and when people started to use the word manifesting, my brain sort of like shut down because I didn't understand it. I couldn't chunk on any knowledge that I already had. And so when I heard people talking about and using the language and the word manifesting, I just thought like, oh, that's really airy-fairy. Or that's too woo for me. I don't get it. And, I felt very factual and attached to this is how you do something. Like, if you want to make more money, you need to be really good at managing your money. You need to learn about money. You need to be financially educated. Like, you can educate yourself financially, I just saw manifesting as a brick wall. But again, it's like, what if I was wrong about that? Like, what if I was just wrong about the whole manifesting thing? And it's really funny because I'm in a mastermind at the moment, and the coach who is running it, like, that's her thing. It's all about manifesting. And have completely opened up to this whole, not just from this mastermind, like it was leading up to this, like I've been doing a lot of reading and about more of the woo side of creating money. And, I'm creating more money. So again, it's like, what if I was wrong about that word manifesting, or using that word, or that was airy-fairy? So what I want you to take from today, and why I'm sharing these stories with you, is because we make up stories, right? Our life is just made up of the stories that we tell ourselves about our life, right? Like we have thoughts about how we think our life is and who we are, and thoughts about money, like stories about money. And then we just live our life through those stories, okay? And you can use whatever vocabulary you want to talk about that. Like you could say you live your life through those thoughts, or you live your life through that filter, or you live your life through that story, whatever word resonates with you. But we so often, and when I say we, like I do this, right? Like this is what I've done. I'm talking to you about my experience, but through all the people that I coach now, I just see this again and again and again. We tell ourselves these stories, but we never stop and ask ourselves, is that true? Or what if I'm wrong about that? I did a open coaching call this week, and a perfect example of this was one of the clients I coached was telling a story about how she had moved to a new area, and she was still in her job. She was working from home in her job, and she had this idea that she was going to earn less money now that she moved to this new area, because the story that she was telling herself was that people in this area that she's moved to earn less money. And factually, listen, that could be true. Like the area that she's in, like maybe it's a lower social economic area, and maybe statistically people in that area do earn less than the area that she used to live in, right? But she had this whole story running that I'm not going to make as much money. Like people in this area don't make as much money. But the funny thing is that she earns over $100,000 a year and she lives in that area. Right? Like when she was telling herself this story, she couldn't see, like she was blocking herself from seeing that, like, because I asked her, like, what if you're wrong about that? Right? Because she actually already was somebody who made over $100,000 a year, and she lived in that area, and yet she just kept telling me and reinforcing, like, but people in this area, like, they only earn like 30 or 40,000 a year, and she was so attached to this story. And I don't mean that in a bad way, as in there's anything wrong with her, but she hadn't taken the time to consciously really examine those thoughts and ask herself, like, what if I'm wrong about this? Right? Because she was wrong about it. I mean, she lived in this area and she made over 100,000. So she was like totally wrong about it. But she kept telling herself this story, and it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because the actions she was saying that she was taking were sort of like leading to her not being able to continue staying in her job and working from home. And so the takeaways that I want you to take from today is that if you have a story about something in your life, like something that's going on, like you think that, you can't start a business because it's really hard, or you think that you can't change your speciality in the field that you work in because it's too competitive, one thing I want to offer you, well, two things actually, two questions that you can ask yourself. Like if you feel like you're not getting the result that you want, two questions you can ask yourself is this. The first one is, what if you were wrong about that? All right? Like whatever the story is that you're telling yourself, like if you're telling yourself that there's already lots of people in the market doing what you want to do, and so, maybe you're not going to be successful if you start that business. What if you were wrong about that? Right? Like that's question one. And the second question is that true? So when you're telling yourself a story and you've got an idea about something, like that example that I said about how I just thought I had to work 5 days a week and never see my kids and to make more money, like I could just ask myself, is that true? Because why we do this is we challenge our brain, because our brain just gives us the same story, right? We just keep telling the same story over and over again because it's efficient. And if we don't examine it or question it, what happens is we start believing our own stories. We think that it's facts, that they're the facts of life, right? But the beauty about challenging ourselves with these questions is, okay, so quite a few of the women that I coach, they're either they have businesses and they want to do different things with their businesses, like they want to charge more money, they want to get different results, right? Like I coach them on that, or they're in a career already, but they want to transition to starting a business, right? Like this is the majority of the women I coach are from these two camps, like entrepreneurs, people who want to be entrepreneurs, or people who already are and they want coaching on sorting stuff out in their life around this, right? And here's what our brain does to us, especially like for those of us who, well, actually not even especially, and all of us do this in any area, because I can think of a couple of examples straight off the top of my head, like an entrepreneur thinking, I can't charge that kind of money because people don't pay that. Now that is a classic example of, like, ask yourself, is that true? Right? Is that true? Like, are there people in your field that you are in who charge more money? Right? Just challenge your brain. Is that true? And then also, what if you're wrong about that? Because, I doubled my prices earlier on, the start of this year. I doubled my prices. And at first I had a lot of drama around it. Like, I couldn't possibly do that. Like, I'm going to lose my clients. And I was totally wrong about that. Totally wrong. Like, yeah, some of my clients finished up with me and didn't re-sign, but that's normal. Like, I work with people for 6 months, and some of my clients, it's like, yeah, we work together for 6 months and we're done, right? There's other clients who work with me for 6 months and it's like, no, they want to continue the work. They want to continue having a coach, and either they're still working towards like a big goal that they're working on, or it's just like, yeah, they don't ever want to be without a coach. So they continue working with me, right? And I've had people continue working with me despite doubling my prices. And so that whole idea that people wouldn't want to keep coaching with me if I doubled my prices, like, wrong. I was totally wrong about that. Right? So I'm going to wrap up now. I'm going to sort of like leave you with this to help you like sort of summarize. We tell ourselves stories. Now, a lot of the time we tell ourselves stories because we think that they're helpful, okay, and or we've just never consciously examined them. We tell ourselves stories because that's what we've just grown up learning or grown up seeing, right? We've seen things in our life a particular way and we've never questioned it. And, like in some respects, like that can really serve us. But when we want to do something different and when we want to do something new with our lives, or equally when we're creating a result in our life that we don't want, that's when we want to start challenging the stories that we tell ourselves, the thoughts that we have. Because when we start challenging ourselves, when we're willing to be wrong about how we think, then we open the door to new ways of thinking and new results. And I just want to reiterate, because I have a feeling this could be triggering for you. It's not your wrong, right? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, are you willing to consider that maybe the way that you're thinking about something, maybe your thoughts about something, the story that you have told yourself about something is wrong, right? I just had a client who raised her prices recently. And again, like she had this whole story about, I can't charge that. Like people won't pay that kind of money. And yet she pays me more money than what she's saying that her clients wouldn't pay, right? And when we really started challenging these thoughts, it's like, yeah, what if you're wrong about that? What if you can actually charge the amount of money that you want to charge and attract the clients that you really want? What if charging the price that you want to charge is the exact thing that you need to do to attract the clients that are your ideal clients who are aligned with you, right? What if starting that business that you've always wanted to start is exactly what you should be doing? Like, what if thinking that you're going to fail in your business, or what if thinking that most people fail in business, or that there's other people out there who are already doing what you're doing, what if you were totally wrong about that? What if doing this business that you want to do was actually like the best decision that you could ever make? What if it was like the life-changing decision that completely changed the trajectory of your whole life? What if that was true? I really hope you hear me today, because I've got to tell you that the change that I have experienced just in the last 12 months of my life alone blows my mind. Like, I never thought that I could have created the things that I have created. I was so wrong about so many things that I thought. Do you know, I coached a woman in Mongolia yesterday. Mongolia! Like, I mean, I'm like, how did that happen, right? Like, how incredible was that I could help somebody on the other side of the world? When I was working as a teacher, thinking about that it wasn't possible for me to make money the way that I wanted to make money, it didn't even enter my consciousness that it was possible that I could sit in my office, in my home office at home, right? Making money, helping someone on the other side of the world. You are so much more capable than you think. So I want to just leave you with these two questions. What if you are wrong about that? And is that true? All right? You've got this. Those dreams that you want, you've got this. You can do this. Right? Be open to being wrong about what you think is possible. Because what you think is possible, it's so much more than, like, if you can imagine it, you can create it. All right. You've got this. Have an amazing week until I see you next time. And listen, if you want help creating those goals that you want, and you want help changing those stories that you've been telling yourself, and you want to just be able to skyrocket forward, quantum leap into the next version of you and unpack all those limitations that you've been putting on yourself, I can help you with that. All right. First step is sign up with a consultation with me so we can find out if we're a good fit. But this is what I do. I help people just like you create the lives that they want, like unpack all those money limitations, all those thoughts of lack of confidence, all that stuff. We blast through all of that so you can create exactly what you want, because you totally can. I've done it, and mate, if I can do it, you can do it. All right. I love ya. See you next week. Oh, and one more thing before I let you go. I'm running another open money mindset coaching call. The last one was amazing. I've had so many of you email me about it, and also so many of you watching the replay. And I'm doing another one on August 10th at 8 p.m., I think, off the top of my head. And this is so more of you can attend, because I had a few emails, people telling me that's at 3 a.m. for me. So this one's August 10th. That's next week, next Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. This is your opportunity to get coached by me live on a call, or you can watch other people getting coached, which is just as beneficial. So I hope to see you there. All the details will be in the show notes of this episode, also on my Instagram account, on my website. You'll work it out if you want to be there. All right, I'll see you there. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Money Mindful podcast. For more info, visit moneymindful.com.au. For future episodes, be sure to subscribe. And remember, the information in this podcast is of a general nature only and does not take into account your personal circumstances or goals. Please seek professional advice for your own financial needs. Remember to have fun along the way.